You're watching the Bearcat Network. Today's Wednesday, October 29th, and this is Cat Chat. I'm Chris Sabato with my co-host Kip Ioane, and we're bringing you the news, events, and an inside look at Bearcat Athletics.
From a new location today.
From a new location, our table was stolen, so we are now here.
We're going to turn ourselves into game day and be mobile.
Yeah, we may see us around campus doing this from the chicken fountain.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, let's jump into the roundup and look what happened this past week in Bearcat Athletics. To start things off, women's soccer having a really rough season this year. Another loss, this time to Puget Sound with O2 that was here on Sparks Field. Hopefully they can get at least another win.
Keep grinding through it. Keep practicing, doing what you can. Volleyball, Coach Shoji in the women's team at UPS came out with a 3-1 win. In that victory over the Loggers, Emily Compton had 47 assists, and Sarah Fincher, as usual, led the team with 19 kills. Unfortunately, the follow-up game at George Fox in Newburgh, we got swept 3-0. The team's now 11-10, 6-6 in NWC play with 4 games left.
Yeah, they can't put a whole weekend together.
They gotta get a sweep, I know. This week, we'll get into where they're at this week, but that's what they need, a 2-0 weekend.
Yeah. Men's soccer looking strong, and we'll dig in a little more to them later on and digging deeper. One at Pacific Lutheran, a 3-2 win. One at Puget Sound, a big win, 1-0 for them. Braden Calder and Yazin Hishma, they've both been athletes of the week at some point.
I feel like the same posters going up because they just keep getting the same award. That's great.
Yeah, and this week they were both Yazin for offense and Braden for his goaltending.
Football went up to Tacoma. Always a tough place to play, especially against the Lutes. Unfortunately, dropped a 56-14 game. Highlights for the Cats despite the loss: Dylan Jones, 129 yards on 18 carries and a touchdown. And All-American linebacker Jack Nelson in the middle with 10 tackles. They'll be at Linfield this week. Always a great rivalry game. Hopefully, the guys get fired up and go on the road to the Cat Dome, they call it, and hopefully have a much better result.
Yeah. Men's golf, Northwest Conference Fall Classic this weekend. Had a rough go of it on Saturday. Pretty crappy weather.
Horrible weather.
Yeah. They ended up second, 8 strokes behind Whitworth. Ryan Kukula, who we'll talk to later in the show, finished with 73 in the first, 75 in the second for a total of 142, just 1 stroke back from first. He finished second.
Excited to talk to him a little bit about more of the inner workings of how a golf team works on campus and, kind of how their setup is with the NWC Fall Classic, NWC Tourney.
Yeah, we'll find out what that means.
On the women's side for Coach Doherty and the golf team, the Bearcat women finished 5th, 1 stroke behind 4th place PLU, and Tanish Shra, did I say it right? Shra. Shot an 85 the first day, 82 in her second round for a 167. It was good for tied for 8th overall, so in the top 10 in the NWC.
Rowing, who actually we missed on the schedule last week, they were up in Portland for the Portland Fall Classic. Their women's varsity 8 was second in 1941. They were 2 minutes behind Lewis and Clark. 2 seconds.
Yes,
2 seconds.
Yeah,
2 seconds behind. And to be honest with you, I don't know what all that means, but we're going to have Coach Knickerbocker come and kind of explain to us in one of these what rowing.
Yeah, how it works.
How it works. Yeah. I look at the results and it was confusing.
Yeah, absolutely. Rowing for dummies. We need her to come in for sure. Absolutely. In our Digging Deeper segment today, we're taking a look at Coach Lloyd Phobie and the men's soccer team having a historic season here at Willamette, right in the thick of things, currently alone in first place, tied for first place.
Nope, they're alone.
They got the 9 wins.
Yep.
They're currently number 9 in the regional rankings in the NCAA Division III West region. And in the current standings, if you take a look at the NWC, Willamette's 9-1-1 in first place, followed closely by the Pirates of Whitworth at 8-1-2, and right behind them, Puget Sound, who the Bearcats got a big win over this past weekend. They're 8-2-1. Coming up schedules for those teams. Huge game Saturday right here on the Sparks Field for the men's team versus Whitworth, 1:30 p.m. They follow that up Sunday versus the 6th place team currently in NWC. Whitman is 4-7, and they finish versus rival Linfield here as well. versus Linfield. They're 4-6-1. That's next Saturday. So those are the remaining 3 games for the Bearcats. Whitworth has us on Saturday, Linfield on Sunday, and they finish versus Whitman next week. UPS, who's only a game back, has George Fox struggling this year at 0-11 on Saturday. Pacific, who's 7th place in the NWC on Sunday, and they finish up next week at PLU. So kind of everybody finishes with their rival, but the big weekend is this one coming up.
Yeah, and this is going to be this week. This game versus Willamette and Whitworth, in a lot of ways, will dictate the future for all 3, Willamette, Whitworth, and Puget Sound. Willamette and Whitworth both have basically the same schedule for the last 3 games. They play each other, and then they swap Linfield and Whitman.
Yeah.
Puget Sound has, if you go by rankings and schedules, they have a pretty easy go. And the Pacific Lutheran is their toughest competition, and Pacific Lutheran has beat no one who's above them.
So they're at 4th, but they're 5 and 6 with losses above.
Yeah, and all their wins have come from the bottom team. So they're not a very strong team, even though their record looks like they're in the middle.
I think it's probably best. Can you take us through? Okay, let's say Willamette wins. Whitworth tie, or Whitworth wins.
So there's a lot of scenarios, and we'll give you a couple of them. First of all, scenario 1 would be that Willamette wins over Whitworth. So we win, this is the one we want. We win, and Puget Sound wins out. In that case, and this is assuming that both Willamette and Whitworth both win the other 2 games. That would put Willamette in first place, followed by Puget Sound, followed by Whitworth. And the way soccer works in the rankings is points.
Okay.
So you get 3 points for a win and 1 point for a tie.
Okay.
And basically you add up your points for the year, and whoever has the most points is your winner. So in scenario 1, we'd end up with 37, Puget Sound was 34, and Whitworth were 32.
Okay.
Scenario 2 would be a tie.
Okay.
Then that would be also a situation that you would be okay with.
We win out. Besides that tie with Whitworth.
Yeah, besides the tie, everyone else wins everything. So that would put us with 35, Puget Sound 34, and Whitworth 32. So if we tie,
everything looks good.
Everything looks good. Now, if Whitworth beats Willamette, and Puget Sound wins out, and Whitworth, and again, we both win the rest of them, then Whitworth is going to end up on top with 35 points, and Willamette and Puget Sound will tie with 34.
And going forward, based on the NWC champion, if they're outright, they get to go to the NCAA tournament automatic?
Yes. So the winner of the conference gets the AQ.
Okay.
Now, if there's a tie, both teams are awarded a conference champion. So you have co-conference champions, but then we go down to some tiebreakers to decide who gets the AQ and who will move on.
Are there at-large bids available for their tournament?
There are, but I don't think there. Yeah, I don't think there are very many of them. And put it this way, we're currently 9th in our region, which is
you want to be a little higher.
If you want to get an AQ, you better be high. But Whitworth is number 3. So if we beat number 3, we'll move up in those rankings. So it all comes down to this game this week. This is a huge game. We need to beat or tie Whitworth to really have a shot at going any further.
And historically speaking, I mean, this is uncharted territory. If Sabato's got a graphic here. NWC championships in men's soccer since 1980. There's Whitworth with 11, PLU with 9, Pacific Puget Sound with 3, Linfield and Seattle U that used to be in the league with 2, Fox, Lewis and Clark, Whitman with 1. The only name you don't see on there is the Bearcats. So this is a historic chance for a team to really leave a legacy as a trendsetter and do something no one's ever done in men's soccer. We'd love to see as many people out there at 1:30 as possible. I know Saturday's a crazy day, which we'll get into on campus. There's events everywhere, but that 1:30 time slot is a great time to get out right here, right next to Sparks on the field. Hopefully they're wearing their yellow throwbacks. I like that color, and we can get loud and rowdy.
Yeah, and so like I said, it goes by points, and if the points are tied, then it goes to the tiebreaker. In most of the scenarios I ran, that was a very unlikely scenario.
Okay.
It was actually hard for me to figure out, to get them to get a tie. But if Willamette ties Whitworth and then loses 2, and Puget Sound and Whitworth both win,
Okay.
then I think that's what I have written down.
The one way to get it.
Yeah, then Puget Sound and Willamette are tied at 31 apiece.
Okay.
And then it goes to head-to-head competition, and we would win that.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
in that scenario, there'd be co-champions, but we would win the tiebreaker and get the AQ.
I think best case, let's just take care of business, fellas.
Yeah, I mean that's the bottom line.
Yep.
Is the Bearcats need to beat the Pirates this weekend, and they kind of hold their own destiny in their hands.
That's the place you want to be, any sport.
Yeah, and it comes down, for the most part, it comes down to us and Whitworth. Puget Sound can win out, and that doesn't guarantee anything for them. You know, they need some help to move up.
Yep.
So we need to beat Whitworth, and if we do, we've got a pretty good shot at for our first Northwest Conference championship.
Awesome. Can you rush the field in soccer?
I think we get fined $10,000 by the conference.
Everybody just cheer back. All right, today's Athlete Spotlight, we're here with Ryan Kukula from the men's golf team here at Willamette University, coming off their NWC Fall Classic. Ryan, welcome to the Cat Chat. We're in a new setting today out here, as you saw from the intro, but, coming off a second-place overall finish for yourself, talk to us about, your mindset going in, how you thought you performed, and just your overall impressions from the Fall Classic.
Yeah, I mean, going into the tournament, I was feeling pretty good with our first two tournaments. We had a second place and a first place finish, respectfully, for our first two. And our team was feeling pretty good. We were going in with a lot of confidence coming off. We won this tournament last year, and we knew we were one of the top teams in conference. So, we go in Saturday. Conditions were pretty bad, as you guys saw here in Salem, too, but we battled pretty well. I know we have some guys from the coast, so I felt like the wind was an advantage for us. And we got to day two, and we got to a spot where we wanted to be, just couldn't close the door. So, overall second place wasn't too bad.
Gotcha. And so did you guys finish your round?
We did, yeah. We actually had our last guy finishing in the dark. So luckily he got done, so we didn't have to come back at 7 in the morning and warm up again and go out and play one hole. So
because I know a handful of teams at least had to come back the next day and finish that second.
The whole wave behind us didn't finish, so that was pretty tough. But luckily we got our guys in time. So.
Talk about a little bit, you mentioned the wind. What's the difference in approach when you're on the golf course? Some guys out there, guys or gals that might be golf fans probably know this a little bit better than me, but what was the approach? Is it your ball path, ball flight? What's the difference when it's that windy?
Yeah, you're just grinding more on shots. You have to really be focused on every shot, and, if you hit one bad shot and the wind takes it, it just amplifies the negativity of the shot, I guess. So, I don't know. It really makes you focus more, which I think helped our team when we really had to get down to it and grind for those holes.
Absolutely. And now you're from Ocean Park, Washington, right? What high school did you go to?
Ilwaco High School.
See, I'm glad you said it. I knew it, but I didn't want to say it wrong. What brought you to Willamette? You're a senior now. Obviously, it's a little bit in the past, but what was the thing to say, hey, you know what? I want to be in the Cardinal and Gold.
Yeah. Well, actually, when I was coming here, the head coach at the time took junior golf lessons from my dad like 18 years ago when I was like 2 or 3. So he knew
Noah Horseman.
Yeah, Noah Horseman. Yeah, he knew me when I was 4 or 5 years old, and then coincidentally my dad taught Patrick Doherty as a junior as well. So it just worked out. It was an easy transition. I knew both of the head coach and the assistant coach. Yeah. And now I'm Patrick's
recruiting
head
golf
coach.
Connections.
Yeah, and so it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, and actually Noah was just awarded the Ohio, because he moved to Ohio to take a pro job, and he was just awarded like the teaching pro of the year.
Really?
For Northern Ohio.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really
cool for him. Yeah.
A lot of energy with Noah.
Yeah.
And I think Coach Doherty's the same way. He's a basketball coach as well at the high school level, so I've got to see him on the course and in the gym. Yeah. There's a lot of passion there too, which I'm sure is great for you guys to play for.
Right. Definitely.
So tell us a little bit about when you're in a match. What does the coach do?
Yeah, he helps. A big thing for coaches is they'll stand on par threes, especially if it's windy, and they'll tell you what your teammate just hit in the group ahead of you, just to help you gauge your shot in the wind. Because a lot of times if you're going over water and you don't know what the wind's doing, it could definitely impact your club decision. So with that, and he drives around and gives us food. It was really nice. Makes it, he'll lighten our bags if it's not raining. We have all our rain gear, so he helps us out. Takes a little load off our shoulders, I guess, and helps us not worry about things that we'd have to worry about if we didn't have him there.
So he's kind of like a caddy for the whole team.
Essentially, but can't carry your bag.
But can't carry your bag.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a question I was going to ask. You guys have to carry your bag.
We do.
Can he give you, yardage, shot,
he can do
suggestions?
everything but carry the bag.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's very cool to have that.
And how spread out? Does it depend on the size of the meet? So you're in a group of how many when you're playing?
Usually 3 or 4.
Usually 3. None of your teammates with you?
No,
Got to be split out?
But how they always organize college tournaments is all your 5 teammates, or I guess 4 teammates, 5 including yourself, are always in a row. Like so you're always, your groups are 5 in a row. So your coach can work back and forth between those 5 groups. So it makes it easy for him.
Excellent. Explain, to some of the people out there. So this was the fall season, the fall classic for you guys. How does this, the finish you guys had, how does that carry over into the spring? What's the overall championship model? How does that work? Because it seems a bit, there's so many different things you guys are competing in.
Oh, I know. So there's 3 tournaments that count towards nationals: our fall classic, spring classic, and conference championship. Fall classic and the spring classic both count for 25%, and the last one's 50%. So essentially, you get 1 point for each team you beat at all these tournaments, and then you get 2 points for each team you beat at the last one.
Okay.
So with this one, this gave us 7 points out of 8, so it puts us in second. We're in a good spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we have the split season just because it's tough to play during these months now, especially. I mean, you said the weather gets worse as the season gets on. Exactly. So yeah, no, it's nice.
And so what is those 3? Is that what determines the conference title?
Yeah, and
so the conference championship is not actually for the conference championship.
Exactly. It could be skewed in a way where if one team wins the first 2 and you have 50% of the points already, and then they get third, but some team comes from the back and wins the last one, doesn't even matter.
Okay.
So the last one plays a big factor in it, but sometimes if rare circumstance it might mean nothing.
And then if you are the NWC champion, is that the automatic? Is it a regional base ranking?
That's the automatic bid to
into
nationals.
The nationals.
Yeah.
Where's the nationals?
I don't know where it is this year. Last year was in North Carolina.
Okay.
Year before that was in Florida.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
Switching gears a little bit. What's currently at Willamette? Obviously, student athlete. That word student comes first. What's your major? And where you at towards graduation, et cetera?
Yeah, I'm an economics major with an art history minor.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, kind of a weird minor, but I like it a lot. Classes are interesting. And yeah, I'm on track to graduate in all 4 years. So yeah, next semester I'll be doing thesis, taking advanced topics right now.
Okay.
It's pretty tough, a lot of reading.
Yeah.
But I'm getting through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's the favorite class? What's the best class you've taken?
I took an astronomy class my sophomore year with Nathan Williams that I really, really liked. And I know I'm not a physics major or anything like that, and that's probably over my head. But yeah, it was a really cool class, and I liked it a lot.
Well, this is the second one whose favorite class has not been in their major.
That's true.
I think that's a testament.
Major's the grind, and the other classes kind of give you some relief. Not relief, but maybe a little different focus for your brain. If people are, when they come out to the golf course, what are they going to hear? Are you going to be interacting with the people you're playing with? A nice shot. Is there a rivalry with the school? You're not even speaking to that guy. You're watching to make sure he doesn't nudge his ball out of the rough. How does that work on the course?
There are unspoken rivalries, but for the most part, if you were to come out and watch, we're all pretty friendly with each other. When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, it's just a game. So it's you don't want to get too serious where you're just not gonna you're flat out not gonna talk to a guy.
Yeah.
But if things get heated and you can see that their intensity is definitely increasing, and they're not going to talk. Then, I flat out won't talk to them.
At the end of a hole, say I'm out playing with my dad and my brother, right? I might say, I got a par, you got a bogey. What do you guys have to announce that to each other when you're playing with, or is it just I got this?
Most of the time, it's pretty easy to keep track of their score, and so I'll just write it down, and I won't ask them if they have a big number. Then I don't like asking them because I know if that ever happens to me, I don't want to, hey, what'd you get? Oh, man, I had a 9. So, thanks for letting me remind me. So, it's just kind of one of those feel things. If you can keep score in your head, then do that yourself, then you go over at the end of the round.
Well, they're probably a little better golfers than we are.
That's a good point. You guys don't put a lot of snowmans on the card.
Yeah.
Try not to.
You know what? Yeah. When we golf, you have to ask because it could be a 5, it could be an 11.
That was a double bogey.
You spend a lot of time in the weeds there.
Is there a limit in the bags, the clubs you can carry in the bag number?
Yeah, 14.
14.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the same as the PGA, right?
Yeah, 14.
Is that a general golf at all levels?
You can have less if you want. I mean, if you're like a gambler, you can have more because they don't have right rules, but everything. But that's about it.
So how does that, like, rules and whether you take a drop and things like where who decide? I mean, you're basically calling your own shots
Exactly,
essentially, and
and that's the cool thing about golf is it's all on you, so
Mm.
you have to call all of your own penalties.
Mhm.
Last weekend I was playing with a guy who, when he addressed his ball on the green, the ball rolled forward, which unless a noticeable wind gust pushed it, it's a penalty.
Mm.
So and there was no wind at the time, so they determined it was a penalty on him. But myself or the other guy in my group didn't notice it, and he called it on himself, and that guy actually played for PLU, and we beat them by one shot.
Oh man.
So it was crazy how it came down to that close, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's just how
Kind of the
how
honor
it goes.
code in
Exactly.
effect.
Yeah.
it seems like golf that's probably a little easier, to be honest.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
like that's part of the
yeah, and you always got golf karma. You got the golf gods looking
Yeah.
down. So you do one thing you're not supposed to, and
Yeah.
then you do something that's what just happened. It's
Yeah.
like that gets in your head thinking, oh, it's the golf gods.
So between now and the start of the spring season, what are you going to do with your game? Like, where do you get to go play? What's your plan? What's the typical person on your team or the women's team? What are they doing?
Yeah. So we're working on the deals with Ilhi
Okay.
and Salem Golf Club right now on
Mhm.
our privileges throughout the winter.
Mhm.
And I know Sparks in the athletic department here is trying to get us a net and a mat to hit into
Okay.
in the into one of the
Mhm.
like where the softball field has their
Yeah.
nets. Our softball team has their nets.
Mhm.
But for the most part, we're all doing individual workouts.
Mhm.
Trying to practice on our own as much as we can.
Mhm.
I know with the public golf courses around here, you can still go out and chip and putt whenever you want,
Yeah.
but you don't have the privilege for getting range balls through
Yeah.
the Willamette account. So,
Oh, okay.
you kind of have to pick and choose what you want to do and what you want to work on throughout the
Mhm.
winter. But and a lot of it's weather depending or weather
Yeah.
permitting too.
Right.
So. Yeah.
So what's a typical practice look like for you? Do you just go play around, or are you
Yeah.
playing the same hole over and over again, working on?
Right. So we have, for the men at least, we have 3 scheduled play days and 2 scheduled practice days. Where on those days we go out and hit balls, chip, putt, usually try to accomplish a few things, do a few drills. And on the play days, we'll try and get there, warm up, and then go out and play 9 or 18.
Mhm.
And then when we get done, if you still want to, if there's still daylight, you can come back, putt, chip, do what you
Is
want to
Coach
do.
Doherty with you guys when you play, or is he just following? Is he playing too?
Yeah, he plays every now and then.
Yeah.
He'll follow every now and then, but a lot of times he'll stay with the people that are practicing
Okay.
at the range and
Yeah.
at the short game area.
Mhm.
So he'll stay with those people and focus with them because they're the ones that are actually practicing
Mhm.
while the others are out playing. And what's cool about our practice schedule is it's kind of staggered times. So we don't have a set time you have to be out there,
Mhm.
but you have to be out there for 2 hours. So
Okay.
whether it's really flexible with people's class schedules
Yeah.
because some people don't get out till 4. So
Yeah.
while myself, I get out 11:15 every day. So
Yeah, you
I
are at
can get to the
lunchtime.
course. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I can get to the course, from 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 or however long I want to stay there. Whereas others are getting there at 4 and staying till
Gotcha.
dark. So
Okay.
yeah.
Excellent. Well, that's a lot. I appreciate the behind the scenes. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are, yeah, there's a golf team here. What do they do?
I know.
So
Right?
I think you did a great job summarizing where you guys are at, and
Yeah.
congrats on the strong fall.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
looking forward to seeing you guys in the spring.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, looking ahead this week, men's and women's swimming. Coach Leslie Shevlin and the guys and gals are off to the NWC Relays Friday, 5 p.m. Winter sports are going on. Fall sports are wrapping up. This is a pretty big weekend in this looking ahead segment. Volleyball might be the only team that's not here besides football. They're at the Wits. Whitworth Friday night. The Pirates are currently tied for first in the NWC, so a big game for the Lady Bearcats to get up there and try to get a W. And they're at Whitman Saturday, 6 p.m. Part of that tough bed. No matter who you are, that back-to-back weekend, no matter the sport, is always difficult. So good luck to Coach Shoji and the women. Women's soccer Saturday, 11 a.m. here versus the Pirates of Whitworth. Sunday, 11 a.m. Versus the Missionaries of Whitman. Hopefully, Coach Arthur and the women can get on track with a W. And then, as we talked about in the digging deeper, men's soccer, huge game. Be there, 1:30 versus Whitworth Saturday. Hopefully, after that W, you can come out Sunday and see us wrap up a sweep of the weekend against the Missionaries of Whitman. Football, the big rivalry game at Linfield versus Wildcats. I think are number 3 in the country, number 4 in the country. It's about time we got something done against them. So hopefully, Coach Fowles and the guys get the ball rolling, get Dylan Jones running the rock, and good luck to them at Linfield. Then on our side, I got the Bearcat hoop shirt on today, so I got to do a little advertising. Coach Peg Swadner and the women's team are at 5 p.m. Our squad, the men's basketball team, is at 7 p.m. Doubleheader here Saturday night versus both alumni teams. So it'll be a great chance to see your first look at both teams on the hardwood, but also a chance to see some of our greats coming back, John Olinger, Cam Mitchell, a lot of the women's team's alumni coming back. So it'll be a doubleheader night here. Also a ribbon cutting ceremony at 4 p.m. for our brand new team room. So you can go right from the soccer field inside to see some hoops and get out of the rain. And finally, maybe even the biggest thing on campus, the NWC Cross Country Championships right over at Bush Park. We've got home course advantage. 10 a.m. for the men start time, and the women are at 11 a.m. in Bush Park. So really, you can spend all Saturday here. Get up, get a Starbucks, get some donuts, get to Bush Park, come to the soccer game, end your night in the basketball facilities, and be a big weekend to be a Bearcat fan and get out and support everybody.
Yeah. Big weekend?
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining us for another week of Cat Chat. Remind you again, check us out on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We talked a little bit about live streaming last week, and tune in and hopefully everything works.
That's right.
You'll be able to watch. And bit.ly/Bearcat Network should get you there. You can just follow the links on the website. From the lobby of Sparks Center.
That's a great spot.
Yeah.
Great spot.
We'll see you next week.
See you guys.